Rocky 2 is directed by Sylvester Stallone and stars Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers, and I'm very excited to give you guys my review for this movie. If you've seen it, be sure to let me know what you thought about it. As well, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get into this review. In this movie, Rocky struggles in family life after his bout with Apollo Creed, while the embarrassed champ pressures Rocky to accept a challenge for a rematch. For me, Rocky 2 is a good, solid sequel. It continues Rocky's story. It further develops his relationship with Adrian, and they get married in this movie and have a child. I thought that was a very strong point of this movie. And being a Rocky movie, it's got a fight in this at the end of the movie, and I thought it was a pretty good fight. Very satisfying fight. But for me, what holds this movie down from being great is that it just feels like the first Rocky movie again in a lot of ways, and it's sort of lacking a bit of heart and charm that the first Rocky movie had. Sort of how I felt about Creed 2 is sort of how I feel about Rocky 2. This movie sort of follows the same pattern as the first Rocky movie. It starts off right after the first Rocky movie. It's got some cool scenes where they're going to the hospital. Apollo's all upset because Rocky nearly beat him, whereas Rocky's just like, oh, I had my shot, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. That was some nice stuff there. But then when it started getting sort of into the meat of this movie, after he and Adrian start getting married, it starts to sort of feel like it's just going back to what the first Rocky movie was, where Rocky's sort of down on his luck after his success that he had from his fight. He's struggling to keep a job, struggling financially. After having a lot of money, he starts to lose it because he can't keep his job. He's doing stuff to sort of promote things because of his new status, but that's not going well for him because in this movie they have it, he can't read very well, which that felt like they were dumbing the character down too much. Like, it's okay to have him just not have any luck at anything, like not being able to get a job, stuff like that. This was like, okay, I think you're dumbing the character down a bit too much. That was a bit of an issue I had. But still, the movie sort of follows those tropes of he's down on his luck, he needs a reason to fight, he, get money from the fight, so that's his reason to do this rematch. Apollo's wanting a rematch to show that Rocky just got lucky. So they got their reasons for going into it. You can understand the sides. And sort of in the middle portion of the movie, maybe sort of closer to the later half of the movie, it does start to drag a bit when Rocky's accepted the rematch, but his heart's not in it because of what's going on with Adrian. Just that stuff, like, I can understand it story-wise why that would be happening, but it just sort of dragged things down a bit. You're just like, okay, waiting for stuff to pick up, what have you. So that held it down a bit as well. Once things start to pick up again though, and like Adrian's like, go fight Apollo and go win, it picks up again, and they do some stuff with the training that's a lot of fun. They sort of do similar shots of Rocky training, but they add in like fans of his, which I thought was cool. Like, that's a part of this where I don't mind that it felt more like the first movie again, because in the first one, he's running on his own, he's a nobody. In this one, people know who he is and sort of are fans of his now. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was sort of an uplifting, inspirational moment in this, which is something you want from these Rocky movies. And then the final final fight was pretty fun too, with Rocky and Apollo, which sort of gets you at the edge of your seat, even though because it's Rocky 2 and he didn't win the first fight, you can kind of guess he's going to win this one. And he does, and it's very satisfying, and I quite enjoyed that part. So for me, this movie's got some good stuff. Like, it does have a bit of heart, not as much as the first one. There are stuff where it's like, okay, there's putting Rocky, down on his luck again, and it worked for the most part for this movie. It just felt like, okay, we just got this with the first movie, and it just feels like they're retreading things from the first movie. So it's sort of a mixed bag for me when it comes to that. Some stuff in the first act I quite enjoyed. Like I said, what happened right after the match from the first movie, I enjoyed that stuff going on there. Enjoyed how Rocky's has some like permanent damage physically from the fight. I like how they were sort of addressing stuff like that. And I enjoyed this sort of continuation with his relationship with Adrian. Enjoyed that quite a bit, and his relationship with Mickey. Really enjoyed that as well. Final act for the most part, a lot of fun with his training and the final fight. Just some of the middle stuff was just recycling things, and sort of the second half of the middle portion of the movie, it just started to drag for me. So I do enjoy this movie quite a bit still. It's just, I think if this was just its own movie like this was Rocky, it would be better, but just because it feels like what you just got before it is like, okay, I feel like they didn't totally have their ideas set for a sequel, if that makes sense. Like, they want to do a sequel, maybe if they had a bit more time, even though I think they had like 3 years in between movies, to make something a bit different, put more spin on it. I think that would have made it a bit better. Still, Sylvester Stallone I thought did a pretty good job directing this movie. The fight at the end I thought was handled very well. It was fun and satisfying. So overall, I just wish it sort of changed things up a bit instead of recycling things from the first movie. So for me, I would give Rocky 2 a 73%. I do quite enjoy this. I can watch and have fun, but I'm just more likely to go watch the first Rocky movie because they're pretty similar. So I do enjoy this movie. Those are my thoughts on this movie. If you guys have seen it, let me know what you thought about Rocky 2 as well. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for some more reviews coming soon. And until my next video, take care everybody.